Now then, the financial rewards from rebuilding a nation can be great, but the stakes for foreign investors in Iraq have never been so high. Iraqi guerrillas are increasingly targeting non-military Westerners. Ambushes in the last few days have claimed the lives of 2 Japanese diplomats and their driver, 7 Spanish intelligence agents and contractors from South Korea and Colombia. Well, joining us this morning is Nick Ashton, whose company is providing business in Iraq with protection and security advice. Nick, thanks very much indeed for coming in.
Thank you.
You and your colleagues presumably increasingly living in fear of your lives.
We don't live in fear of our lives because we are providing the protection, and if we can't protect ourselves, then we've got a problem. But certainly you've got to have a fear factor, and our job is to certainly reduce that fear factor and increase the comfort level so that they can go about their normal business.
You've just been in touch with Iraq a few minutes ago.
Yes, I have.
What's the atmosphere there this morning? What are your colleagues telling you?
This morning is rather strange because we've had the attacks over the weekend, 54 killed. That was a money exchange program that was going on.
What do you mean by that?
We are changing the notes out. That is, the Saddam Hussein money is being swapped out for new notes. And so there was a lot of money on the road. That's what the attack was all about.
I understand.
But the intelligence is that it's too quiet. The intelligence factor of gathering information is incredible over there. That's why they have been doing such a great job. It's just that most of the time they can't talk about what they're doing. We don't want to give the enemy the information that we know what they're up to.
And who is the enemy in your view? Who's responsible for all this?
Certainly you have the Saddam Hussein sympathizers, but you also have a lot of out-of-work terrorists who are coming across the border. From Syria especially, there are training camps we know in Syria, and these are guys that have been fighting, and that's all they know. They want the gun, the bomb, and they want to create mayhem.
One is puzzled why they target people like the Japanese, for example, who are just going in a bar for a drink. I mean, diplomats, sure, but I mean, they no direct part in Iraq. The Spaniards you can begin to understand, the Americans and Brits you can certainly understand, but why the Japanese?
It's any Westerner, and the 2 Japanese, K and O, I can't pronounce their actual full names.
You know the guys involved?
Yes, I did. I was with them on Thursday. We are actually involved with the Japanese doing security for them, and these 2 guys did something. And I don't like to speak ill of the dead, but you know, it's just that you don't do it that way.
You don't do what?
You don't leave on your own. You don't just go in it with a driver in an SUV when you've got a Mercedes-Benz that is a bullet-resistant vehicle. They were going for a conference on reconstruction. What they actually stopped for was a soda on a side of the road into Crete. You don't do things like that. You know, there's plenty of room to put sodas in the car.
Your business is security, but how do you provide security? How do you protect buildings like, for example, the UN and the Red Cross, both of which were hit, which require public access to go about the business?
Right, just bear one thing in mind. One of the main killers, and our company SSAF has for 32 years stopped one thing that's the biggest killer: flying shards of glass. 85% of all deaths in a bomb explosion are the flying shards of glass.
So you protect the glass?
Absolutely, but also we do standoff. You know, a bomb is of a certain size, so we know that, for instance, I can protect a 500-pound bomb at 191 feet, but you've also got to stop the vehicle being able to drive in, so you've got to work barrier systems. You've got to be able to stop them coming in at speed.
But you see, even that level of protection hasn't stopped suicide bombers in certain areas, has it? I mean,
absolutely not.
I mean, if someone is intent on blowing himself to bits and driving a vehicle into a building, they can do it, can't they?
You can't stop the nutcase, and we all know that from assassination attempts. There is always that level. There is never 100% security, never 100%.
You're going to be there for a long time, aren't you?
It's going to go on and on and on. Just like, for instance, in this country, we still are fighting the Irish Republican Army. Still goes on. And we as a company, the only thing we can do to bring the reconstruction of Iraq is to make sure for businesses that they can be as secure as we can make them with the expertise that we have.
We wish you well. Nick, thanks very much indeed.
Thank you very much.
You're watching the News Hour on GMTV. This morning's headlines: the government's plan